Hi, this is Catherine Messick. This is remedies or strategies for improvement when it comes to the decision of placement for SPED 756. Basically, after reviewing the independent school district's policies and, in fact, what we say we're going to do on paper, what we actually do, and how we're IDA non-compliant in many areas, I kind of did some different research in regards to what would be a best remedy to kind of help our situation. First and foremost, I came across this amazing article. It's called Reshaping Education Systems to Realize the Promise of Inclusive Education. This was actually published January of this year by Choi, McCarter, and Saylor, and it's a University of Kansas publication. It was for the Forum for International Research and Education. And this was an amazing article because it touched base on exactly what we're talking about in Module 7, which is SWIFT, okay? So the authors advocate for an alternative framework for education that encompasses and integrates special education in this kind of unified system and creates quality, meaningful education for all that need to get away from place-based definitions. I thought this was an incredibly powerful statement that was made in the article was instead of solely focusing on the percentages of a student is in a place, like general education, like they're in general education 70% of the day. That's like they are placed in this classroom. Get away from that completely and then have complete inclusion and not have to worry about this minutes of I'm in this one location for this amount of minutes. And instead go to a whole school multi-tiered system of support, so the MTSS. This is an amazing idea and an easy remedy for a school district that is segregating everybody. However, this is also a very complex remedy. This would be something that would take a lot of time, a lot of resources, and some money to be able to implement. And our district would need a ton of guidelines and guidance step by step on how to implement this. Because unfortunately, we are a district in which there are a lot of this is the way it's always been, this is the way it should be kind of situations in regards to special education. We, as a district, I don't feel look at the person as an individual, but instead as almost an inconvenience. And this drives me completely nuts about this district. So we need to get away from that business as usual kind of model. And the U.S. Department of Education, they assisted 64 different schools in installing that school-wide MTSS SWIFT program, which has actually got a lot of really positive data in support of it. And so I'm wondering if this needs to be something that we need to be aiming towards as a remedy to kind of get away from this segregation of schooling. Instead of focusing so much on that letter of the law, we need to focus on that spirit of the law, which I think the MTSS or SWIFT would definitely focus more on that spirit of the law. And, you know, I know in a district like mine, it would be very difficult to suddenly change. And so I wonder what that would look at if we started with like an element at the elementary level. If we tried to get away from segregating these elementary students at the elementary level and tried doing some sort of SWIFT or MTSS at that level and then having that program grow. The problem is like, do we really want to take a decade to make change? And I don't know that I don't think a decade is quick enough. The other thing is, as a school district, an easy remedy is A, stop using regular education as your terminology, change to general education or some other alternative that rather than regular ed. And then also start thinking about parents and the students themselves as individuals. That would be the quickest way to remedy this. The wording is completely devoid of that concept of the individual. Going through my interview with Director Potter, it became very obvious that that is completely forgotten about that concept of the individual. These decisions are being made for them, not with them. And I think that would be a really quick remedy to really focus on the individual student and their individual needs, and not they are autistic, so now they need to go to Truman High School. And oh wait, they are functional skills, incredibly low cognitive functioning. Oh, they need to go to Van Horn High School. This we need to get away from. This isn't helping anybody. And neighborhood schools are valuable assets to families. And the fact that we're not allowing a lot of these kids to remain within their own neighborhood, that is something that needs to change, and that needs to change soon. Okay, thanks.